UK maritime officials say the first ship came under fire just northeast of Oman. The second ship was hit about 8 miles west of Iran. Iran says it has now seized both of those vessels, and there's reportedly a third ship that's now stranded off the Iranian coast.
Now, this just hours after extension to the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. The president says this was done at the request of Pakistan in order to give Tehran's fractured leadership more time to, quote, come up with a unified proposal.
And Matt Finn is reporting live from Islamabad, Pakistan this morning. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Bill, the UK Maritime Trade Operations reports 2 ships were attacked today, and there's reportedly a third. And this all comes after that extended ceasefire last night. The UK reports that first attack time 15 nautical miles northeast of Oman. The UK says an IRGC gunboat caused heavy damage to the ship's bridge. About 2.5 hours later, the second cargo ship was fired at off the coast of Iran. The ship has stopped in the water. No reported damage to that vessel. Now, Iranian state media claims Iran attacked a third ship and has seized 2 of these vessels. Fox's Lauren Simonetti reports these types of attacks are paralyzing movement on the Strait of Hormuz, with just 1 ship passing yesterday and in the midst of an extended ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran. President Trump yesterday announced the U.S. will lengthen the 2-week ceasefire that expired earlier today and will wait for the powers that be in Iran to put together a peace proposal. Now, regarding the Strait, the president writing, Iran is collapsing financially. They want the Strait of Hormuz opened immediately, starving for cash, losing $500 million a day. Military and police complaining that they are not getting paid. SOS. Now, here in Pakistan, Islamabad was heavily prepared for peace talks that were expected to be happening today. Now, security seems to be loosening a bit. Some public transit has reopened, and it appears some roadblocks are coming down. But Pakistan's government and President Trump have seemingly left open the possibility of peace talks still happening here at some point. One thing is clear, Pakistan is certainly hoping that President Trump makes his way here sometime soon. We will keep you updated from on the ground here in Islamabad. Bill, Dana.
All right, Matt Finn live on the ground in Pakistan. Matt,
and former CENTCOM spokesman Joe Bacino joins us now. Joe, listen to President Trump yesterday. He was on CNBC and he was talking about the complications that he's facing after the leaders of Iran got taken out.
One way, but these leaders are much more rational. It is regime change, no matter what you want to call it, which is not something I said I was going to do, but I've done it indirectly, maybe, but I've done it.
And then Iran's foreign minister, the new guy, he said that blockading Iranian ports is an act of war and thus a violation of the ceasefire. Striking a commercial vessel and taking its crew hostage is an even greater violation. Iran knows how to neutralize restrictions, how to defend its interests, and how to resist bullying. Do you think they were trying to show that with what they did overnight in the Strait?
I do, Dana. I think that it demonstrates they're not ready. Iran is not ready to negotiate, and they may not even be in a position to negotiate. They may not have the consolidation of power across the parliament, the IRGC, and the mullahs to get into some kind of negotiation. I'm also not sure that President Trump is 100% accurate in saying that these new leaders are more rational. I think Mustafa Khomeini, Vahidi, the new IRGC commander, these are hardliners. They may not be as rational as we're thinking they are.
There's been so much focus on maintaining this American blockade to try to choke out the Iranian economy. At the same time, there have been a few isolated reports that here and there have been some Iranian ships that have successfully gotten through that blockade. Can you talk about just what kind of capabilities the American military has in that area to try to scan and find these ships that are trying to make a run on that blockade?
Sure. Well, we've got more than 15 ships there. We've got more than 10,000 soldiers, and you've got sonar radar that's under the water. We've also got radar on the surface of the water, and we've got radar in the skies, and we've got satellites in low Earth orbit. So we're scanning across every domain. We're watching across every domain, and we've got really cutting-edge, high-tech capabilities that are imposing this blockade and securing the blockade and giving us eyes across everything in the Arabian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz.
Admiral McCraven was on Fox and Friends, and in the last hour, he had an idea of what could be done with the blockade. Watch here.
Where we are now, we're at an impasse at the end of the day. The Iranians don't want to come to the negotiating table until we lift the blockade. But the blockade for us is a pressure point on Iran. Continuing to bomb them probably isn't going to work. Lift the blockade for a period of the ceasefire, and the blockade is a switch. You lift the blockade, and if they don't comply, you just put the blockade back in place. I mean, this is not something that takes a lot of machinations to happen.
What do you think of that? Is it realistic?
it's realistic. The problem is if we lift the blockade while Iran is keeping the Strait of Hormuz closed, they've got leverage, or certainly they feel like they've got leverage. I think with multiple pressure points, we're compounding multiple pieces of pressure here on top of Iran. Obviously, the pressure with the bombing campaign, with phase one of the war, we've knocked out 50 years, more than 50 years of military equipment inside of Iran. Then we've got the economic pressure with the blockade. Then we've got the diplomatic pressure with the ceasefire delay that's eventually going to end. And eventually we're going to start, presumably, phase two of the war if we don't get to a negotiation with regard to uranium enrichment. I think the problem is lifting the blockade on our end while Iran keeps the Strait of Hormuz closed on their end, gives them leverage and allows them to put pressure on President Trump.
If the negotiations were to fall apart here, obviously hostilities would be expected to restart again. Both sides have essentially been rearming and re-preparing. The Iranians said yesterday something along the lines of they have some new cards to introduce to the battlefield. Does that concern you at all, or do you think that's just Iran being Iran with their bluster?
I think, Iran is very limited in what they can do militarily. They've got a very significant ground force, but this is not a ground war. Their air defenses have been devastated. Their air defenses have been taken out almost entirely, and their naval fleet has been taken out almost entirely. So what they can do in defense of an air war or what they can do in the Arabian Gulf is very, very limited. What is unimaginable. It'd be hard for me to identify what that would be, given that we don't have a ground war here. We don't have American troops inside of Iran or in Kharg Island.
Joe Bucchino, please come back to America's Newsroom. It's great to have you on the program. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.